Jack sat in the living room, the newspaper spread across his lap though. He hadn't taken in a single line. His thoughts weighed heavier than the ink on the paper. All of them circled the growing distance between him and his wife Stacy. The house was still broken, only by the faint clink of glass as Stacy touched up her lipstick in the mirror. Jack didn't need to lift his eyes to know what followed. Pattern was too familiar now. Another one of her so-called nights out with friends from work. Words so hollow they meant nothing anymore. "Don't wait up, Jack," Stacy called. Her tone sounded casual, yet beneath it he heard something sharper, almost eager. His jaw tightened, fingers curling on the edges of the paper. His gaze slid toward her as she traced the curve of her lips. "You mean that boss of yours?" His voice was slow, deliberate, every syllable dripping suspicion. "Frey." Heartbeat, Stacy faltered, her hand stopping mid-stroke before she forced a smile over the flash of guilt. "Yeah, so what?" she replied coolly, turning back to the mirror as if his words were air. "What are you going to do about it?" Jack exhaled sharply, tension winding through him like a rope stretched too. He tossed the newspaper aside and rose, patience unraveling. "Stacy, come. We both know what's really happening here. You don't even try to cover it anymore." A flicker of irritation crossed her eyes. Her reflection locked on his. "Don't start, Jack. It's just a night. I want to enjoy myself. Something you've clearly forgotten how to do." His stomach twisted. "Fun." His voice lifted, thick with disbelief. "That's what you call it? You're throwing away our marriage for a fling with your boss?" Stacy spun, her face hard as stone. "Oh, don't act like this marriage was ever special." She snatched her purse, her movement sharp, final. "I'm going. Deal with it." She strode for the door, but Jack stepped into her path, voice raw with emotion, quivering just slightly. "Stacy, don't. We can fix this if you'd just talk to me." For a second, her resolve wavered. Something unreadable flickered in her. Then it vanished. She straightened, unmoved. "Talk. There's nothing left to. I'm done pretending." Her words cut like a blade, slicing the last thread of hope. She yanked her arm free, her next words colder than steel. "Maybe you don't know me at all, Jack. Now move, loser." The door slammed, echoing through the house like a gunshot. Jack stood rooted, fists tight at his sides, breath ragged. Her words pressed down on him, heavy, suffocating. He had tried to hold on to what they built, but it was slipping like sand through his hands. Drawing a slow breath, he turned to the coffee table. His fingers trembled as he picked up his phone and unlocked it with hidden in a folder labeled evidence lay the truth he had buried for weeks. Messages, pictures, videos, proof of her betrayal. He had told himself it didn't matter, that he could overlook it. But staring at the images, now one thing was certain: confrontation wasn't enough anymore. A darker thought took root. Stacy wanted to throw everything away. She would learn what that truly meant. The bass thudded through the crowded bar, weaving into laughter and chatter. Stacy felt lighter than she had in months. The strain of her marriage faded, nothing but a dull whisper under a beat. She leaned closer to Damien, her boss, a slow smile tugging her lips, as he murmured into her ear, "You're too good for that loser husband of yours, Stacy." His breath warmed her skin, his hand resting possessively on her thigh. She shivered, not from cold. She had denied herself too long. Maybe Damien was right. Maybe she had wasted her life. Her lips brushed his ear, her whisper low, tempting. "You're right. It's time." I start thinking about what I want. Damon grinned, eyes gleaming. And what do you want? Her fingers drifted along his collar. I want to live. I want fun with you. That was all he needed. His mouth crashed against hers, his hands tangling in her hair as heat flared between them. Jack faded into nothing. Damon was everything Jack wasn't: wild, dangerous, unpredictable. Hours later, she slipped from Damon's sleek apartment into the cool night air. The adrenaline faded, replaced with something heavier: doubt. A line had been crossed. There was no going back. The house was dark when Stacy returned. The silence pressed in, thick and unnerving. She dropped her keys on the table, the clatter too loud. "Jack," she called softly. No answer. Her stomach clenched as she moved deeper inside. The living room, once warm, filled with carefully chosen pieces, was bare. Her eyes darted until they found the coffee table. There, among the dust of missing belongings, lay a torn marriage certificate and a shattered wedding ring. Her breath caught as she reached for a note, her hands shaking. The handwriting was jagged, furious. Asterisk, you lost everything in one night. Tomorrow your life and his will change forever. Asterisk. A chill ran down her spine. Panic clawed her chest as she bolted upstairs, calling his name. Silence. Much silence. She flung the bedroom door open, bracing for him. Anger demands. But the room was empty. His side of the closet stood. Dread pooled in her stomach. Jack was gone, and she didn't know what he would do. Stacy sank to the floor, breath shaky, the weight crushing her. The bedroom, once a refuge of love and memory, was hollow. Jack's drawers gaped open, empty. The only thing left was the ominous note in her hand. Her thoughts raced in circles. Jack had always lived by principle, loyalty, honor, trust. Convictions she had destroyed. Now he had a plan. One she couldn't see, but in her soul she knew would be worse than she could imagine. The quiet of the house needled her nerves. It had been cold when she arrived, stripped of the warmth she had taken for granted. But now something else crawled under her skin. She was being watched. Her eyes swept the windows, the corners, the shadows. Nothing. Only emptiness. She forced herself upright, wiping her tear-streaked face with her sleeve. Had to find Jack. She had to make him listen, to explain, to beg if needed. It was a mistake. A reckless, stupid mistake. She loved him. Didn't she? The thought twisted in her gut. Did she truly love Jack, or had she only grown comfortable with his predictability, his stability, his familiarity? And if she did love him, why had she been so quick to throw it away? Moved through the house, the silence pressing tighter around her. No longer smelled like home. Jack had erased himself with surgical precision, leaving only emptiness where their life once lived. Her fingertips skimmed the smooth counter as she reached for a glass, desperate to steady her nerves. But when she opened the cabinet, she saw an envelope tucked in the back. Heavy. The handwriting across it was Jack's, jagged, forceful, carved with beige. Her pulse jumped as she tore it open. The words were few but brutal. Asterisk, I hope you enjoy your new life. It will be the last time you ever get to play in the shadows. Asterisk. Cold rippled down her spine, ice flooding her veins. This wasn't farewell, it was a warning. Threat. Her hands shook as she checked her phone. No calls. No messages. Nothing from Jack. She had to find him now. Snatching her car keys, she rushed into the night, barely feeling the chill as she slid behind the wheel. Her thoughts spun wildly, knuckles white on the steering wheel. What had he done? Did he mean by last time? Was this his goodbye, or was it something darker? Turning onto a familiar street, her heart stopped. Jack's car was parked outside his office. She hardly noticed, parking as she bolted inside, her heels clicking against the polished floor. The faint scent of coffee lingered, the murmur of voices somewhere beyond. None of it felt real. She moved through a fog, walls of her reality cracking with step. Then she saw him. Jack sat at his desk, fingers gliding over his keyboard. His expression was to come. When his eyes lifted, the warmth she once knew was gone. His gaze was a blade, sharp, cold, unreadable. Her throat tightened. "Jack," she whispered. "I need to talk to you." He didn't answer. His eyes dropped back to the screen as if she were nothing. The silence stretched, suffocating. "Please," she tried again, stepping closer, hands trembling. "I'm sorry. Was wrong. It was a mistake, a momentary lapse. I never meant." Jack looked up, and the frost in his gaze cut her words short. "You want to explain?" His voice was steady, controlled. "Do you think words will fix it, Stacy? That sorry will erase what you've done?" She opened her mouth, but he raised his hand, silencing her. "No, you don't get to explain. You had a chance. You threw it away for a cheap thrill." Bitterness lashed through every word. He rose, stepping toward her with slow, measured strides. "You think I didn't know? That I didn't see the signs? That I didn't hear the rumors?" His voice dropped, heavy with betrayal. "I knew. I just didn't want to believe it." Her knees nearly buckled under the weight of his words, but she forced herself to stand, chin quivering. "Jack, please. I never wanted to hurt. I never wanted to destroy us." His expression hardened. "Well, you did. And now it's too late." Panic clawed through her. She reached for him, fingers brushing his sleeve. "Please, Jack. Don't do this. Love you. You're the only one I've ever wanted." He jerked back, disgust twisting his features. "You love me." His laugh was hollow, bitter. "You love me, yet you chose to betray me. You still chose him." His voice cut like a knife. "Tell me, Stacy, did you think of me at all while you were with him?" Tears blurred her vision. She shook her head. "It wasn't like that." "But it was." His voice turned to ice. "And I'm done. Done being your fool." The words struck harder than any slap. Her stomach knotted, pain clawing deep. She had pushed him too far. "You should leave," Jack said, stepping back, putting space between them. His voice was calm, unnervingly calm. "Don't bother fixing this. It's already over." She stood frozen, unable to move, unable to breathe. Jack turned away and, for the first time, she felt the weight. True loss. She had broken something beyond repair. As she walked out of his office, her steps dragged heavy with regret. The truth settled deep in her bones. Everything had changed, and there was no going back.